Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Gadget Nation with me, Adam Carruthers. Now, firstly, I want to wish all those celebrating a very happy Chinese New Year, not only on behalf of Gadget Nation, but the whole Astro Awani as well. Currently, though, this is a brand new episode, of course. We're here at Talent Lounge. Really excited, plenty of exciting things to show you today. So, enough talk from me, let's start the show.
This phone is a 6-inch display of products. It's a quad-core 1.5 GHz of the CPU speeds, and of course the battery size is 3400 milliamps. And for the memory is about 8 GB and can expand to the SD card memory 32 GB.
Samsung Malaysia Electronics officially opened its first and largest Samsung Premium Care and Experience Center in Malaysia to serve as a hub of consumers' everyday lifestyle needs. The center, located in Wisma Bentley Music, Mutiara Damansara, spans 14,000 square feet and is intended to be a one-stop destination for Samsung's customers to experience Samsung brand all under one roof.
I love to take pictures. I absolutely adore it, and I've used many cameras in my time in various forms and various sizes from various brands, and I'm really excited about this one because they tend to make real knockout cameras. It's one of the latest offerings from Canon. Ooh, I like this bad boy right here. It's one of the latest models from Canon, which is the 70D. Now, obviously, with the advent of smartphones and the cameras on smartphones specifically getting better and better, a lot of camera companies are suffering. You constantly read reports about it. But the big guns themselves seem to be doing okay, the likes of Canon and Nikon, etc. So they've got to keep on churning out cameras which ensure that you would prefer to use this as opposed to the one you have on your smartphone. And with the advent of something like the Lumia 1020, which has 41 megapixels, you know they really need to step up their game, because that is a viable alternative for many people. Not all the people out there, obviously, they'll always prefer to use something like this, a more traditional DSLR. Now, just looking at it, it seems very familiar in the sense that it reminds me of the 60D. Put that aside though, and I love the body. I think it's really nice to hold, it's really nice to carry around, it's not too big, not too small, and it's something which I really enjoy using in my hands. Now, some of the key aspects about this would be the autofocus. I'll touch on that later, but it really is a big selling point. And also this, as you can see right here, it's the touch screen, but it's also tiltable like such. Basically, you're almost getting a 360-degree tilt, and it really makes a difference when you're taking pictures. It's also touchscreen, so you can actually play around with it and change your settings, etc. right there. Now, for the body itself, it's this polycarbonate resin with glass, something or rather. It all sounds like a big spiel to me. What matters the most is it feels sturdy, it feels durable. Polycarbonate this, glass that, conductive fiber here, but I like it. It really does its job. The button layout, as you can see as well on the back, it's pretty much standardized as we expect, but one thing I do like is having all the functions here at the top, and this button right there enables you to change the how many autofocus points you want in your picture. Now, this allows you to continue looking through the viewfinder as you're pressing the button, because it'll come up on the actual screen itself on your eye, which means if you're taking a group shot, etc., you don't need to pull away and see it actually on the screen. You can just keep it focused. That's a nice little touch, I have to add. Let's talk about some of the autofocusing, because I said it's one of the big selling points here. It really is outstanding, I have to say. Obviously, 19-point all-cross type autofocus, as we expect at least, but like I mentioned, when you're taking the pictures and stuff, it really makes a huge difference. Now, this is also enriching its movie mode function, and I don't think any other camera can really keep up with it in terms of how smooth the transitions are, etc. So it doesn't only benefit your pictures, it also benefits exactly what you find in your movies. Obviously, now there's a lot of things are shot on a DSLR for the likes of YouTube and even movies and TV shows. We've seen that growing over the years because it really is a viable option. It's also got this thing which is kind of hard to describe. It's a dual pixel autofocus. Now effectively every photodiode, which is basically a pixel, is split into two, and it works to see which focusing on the left or the right side. Sounds a little bit complex, but it does make a difference when you are taking your pictures or when it's trying to autofocus on itself. Now I just want to talk a little bit more about the movie itself, the movie mode rather. There's only a 3.5mm jack for one speaker here. There's only one slot here for your memory as well. It has to abide by the 4 GB or 30-minute rule as well. So obviously that's a little bit of a letdown in terms of how long you can shoot for, etc. Because we're all trying to be budding filmmakers out there, as you would expect. I also want to talk a little bit about the viewfinder because it claims to be intelligent. You can bring up obviously stuff like the grid display, the electronic level, and so forth. And you can actually turn it off as well, the grid display aspect that is. So obviously a little bit of fun to be had there of what you can see through here. And it does help. I think every little thing combines to make it very interesting indeed. Now there's other bells and whistles incorporated. There's also Wi-Fi for remote control. You can hook it up to your iPad, etc. And obviously, if you ever tried it out, there's a little bit of a lag. So those moments that you try to capture might suddenly become missed moments just because of that slight lag, which is obviously a bit of a hindrance, not only to this, but to a lot of the other cameras with that function as well. Trust me, I've tried quite a few. You can also start sharing, but the thing is, Canon is forcing you to use the Canon Image Gateway. There's links there for Facebook and for Twitter, but it's kind of half-hearted. It'll just take you back to the gateway itself. Plus, it will affect your battery life as well, which is a little bit obviously a letdown, but it's great to think that they're putting all of this in, and I can see that as an immediate retaliation to the onset of course, the smartphones and the ability to take a picture and share it almost immediately, but it's still lacking something in terms of the lag when you hook it up to a device. But what about the picture quality, you might ask? Well, I have to say it's pretty nifty. The new sensor's ability to cope with higher ISO settings seems to be doing the job A-OK, and the megapixel count is slightly more than you'll find on the 60D. It's a shade over 20, as a matter of fact. So I would say the image quality is the same, but the file size obviously on this will be bigger as opposed to the 60D. In terms of ISO and all of that, it's pretty nice. I mean, it's wide. The low ISO settings, as a matter of fact, are really good. I mean, the picture quality really is rather fantastic. The higher ones, perhaps not as good, but you know what? It's still very impressive in many facets. Now, in closing, what do I think about this camera? Honestly, thanks to its dual pixel autofocus system, it really closes the gap on the compact camera series that you see out there, especially when you put it in live preview mode, etc. And I have to say, big fan of it in that aspect. Doesn't claim to be a professional camera. Many things about the camera, though, would, well, basically disagree with that statement, and I have to say, it really does a stand-up job in many aspects. Every part of it, everything you ask of it to do, it just makes it stand out because it doesn't do poorly in any facet of itself. It really excels in every department given the specs of it. That's why I think it stands out. That's why I think it can go almost head-to-head with a professional camera, because it really is that nifty, that nice, a nice step up from the 60D as well. It has to be added.